All right, let's dive into one of the greatest mysteries of the 21st century. Seriously. It's a story about a ghost who built a $1 trillion machine and then just vanished into thin air. His name? Satoshi Nakamoto. For more than a decade now, that one question has obsessed basically everyone: investigators, journalists, crypto geeks. Who is the person, or maybe persons, that created Bitcoin? Because the deeper you dig, the weirder this whole thing gets. Satoshi wasn't just secretive, he was a walking paradox. Every single clue he left seems to completely contradict another one. And this right here is the central problem. The original white paper, it uses American spellings like characterized with a Z, and it's got timestamps from a US time zone. But the actual code itself uses British spellings like color with a U. And get this, every single code commit was made on a UK time schedule. So you've got an American academic and a British night owl coder all in one person? It just seems impossible. So this leads us to a pretty radical idea. What if we've been asking the wrong question this whole time? Not who is Satoshi Nakamoto, but what is Satoshi Nakamoto? The theory is that Satoshi was a composite identity, a team of specialists who came together for this one project and then just disappeared. So let's look at the evidence for this team. First up on our team is the architect, the person who actually designed the system. And the evidence here points pretty squarely to one man, the American computer scientist and cryptographer Nick Szabo. A whole decade before Bitcoin even existed, Szabo designed this thing called BitGold. And it had it all: a chain of cryptographically linked proofs, a public ledger, miners solving puzzles to create digital scarcity. I mean, it was the direct blueprint for Bitcoin. It was just missing one key piece to solve that pesky double spending problem. The second piece of evidence is even more direct. A forensic linguistics study from Aston University compared the Bitcoin white paper to writings from 11 top candidates. And their conclusion? Nick Szabo was, and I quote, by far the closest match. His writing style was a near-perfect mirror. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Szabo's writing style only matched that formal white paper. So what about the hundreds of emails and forum posts? Well, that's where we meet our second team member, the Communicator, who was likely the financial cryptographer Grigg. Now, the technique they use to figure this out is called stylometry. Just think of it like a linguistic fingerprint. It's software that analyzes all the unconscious patterns in our writing, word choice, sentence length, punctuation, to identify a specific author. So when data scientists ran this analysis, they found something pretty stunning. There wasn't one Satoshi, there were two. The formal academic style of the white paper was a dead ringer for Nick Szabo, but the informal, day-to-day emails and forum posts, a match for a completely different person, Grigg. And just like that, the whole language paradox is solved. You have an American architect, Nick Szabo, writing the formal paper with his US spellings, and then you have a financial cryptographer with Commonwealth ties, Grigg, handling the communications, and naturally using British English. The contradiction just vanishes. Okay, so we have an architect and a communicator. But who actually wrote the code? The evidence for this role points to our third and final team member. The hands are the keyboard. British cryptographer Adam Back. The first clue is right there in the time spans. Every single one of the 169 code commits was made on a schedule that fits perfectly with British summertime, and the activity spikes late at night and goes totally silent in the morning. So this isn't just someone in the UK, it's a UK-based night owl. This geographic and time-based fingerprint fits Adam Back perfectly. He's a well-known British cryptographer, the inventor of Hashcash, which is a key part of Bitcoin, and he was one of the very first people Satoshi ever emailed. But the next piece of evidence is even more direct. So here it is, the technical smoking gun. The original Bitcoin code was written in a very specific and, by 2008, kind of outdated environment, Microsoft Visual C++. Well, it turns out that Adam Back's own famous work, Hashcash, was distributed with a project file for that exact same software. This is a direct, verifiable link. It connects Adam Back to the unique, slightly old-school software fingerprint of Bitcoin's original code. This is what bridges the gap from just circumstantial evidence to something way more direct. So when you put all of these pieces together, the mystery starts to look very, very different. The question really isn't who is Satoshi? The question is, what was Satoshi? The solution seems to be a three-person team, each one a specialist. You have Szabo, the architect, nailed by Bitgold and the white paper's writing style. You've got Grigg, the communicator, identified by the totally different linguistic fingerprint in the emails. And finally, Back, the coder, pinpointed by the UK timestamps and that visual C++ smoking gun. And suddenly, all the paradoxes make perfect sense. Satoshi Nakamoto was a pseudonym for a highly focused, specialized cell, an architect, a communicator, and a coder who came together, built a world-changing technology, and then pulled off the most disciplined vanishing act in modern history. And that leaves us with one final thought. The creator of Bitcoin isn't really a person, but an idea of anonymous, collaborative creation. So, what does it mean for our world when its most disruptive new technology wasn't created by some CEO or a government, but by a ghost?